And I'm at the part of the novel where I don't give a rat's donkey about Chenny's emotions. Her admitting to herself that sleeping with Gabe would have been a huge mistake. Because I'm literally on page 319 and not once has the author made me care about Channy. Hello and welcome to Connotation Points Video Snark. If you came here because you thought that this was an audiobook, please stick around and maybe learn some reading and listening comprehension skills. I read books and discuss what went wrong and how they can possibly be fixed. I'm continuing my read through of Funny You Should Ask by Elissa Sussman. Not the first video, go check out the others, links are posted below. Chapter 27. In case you were wondering how little of a hurry that the author is to get to literally anything relevant, we need to take an entire page of them simply leaving Gabe's truck and going into his apartment. An entire page. I'm not in any rush, she says. When you really stop and think about it, they knew each other for 3 days before 10 years passed. Even if you do count the weird conversation that they had at the opening night of his play, which I don't because they had a 5-minute conversation, and then factor in the time that they've spent together in the present, that's literally 6 days together across 3,652 days. I really hope that I don't have to begin to express to you how laughable that the entire relationship is, and then for them to act like they're picking up where they last left off. Even if you ignore the 10-year time skip, a 5 or 6 day relationship is also setting up so many warning flags. Gabe then apologizes for what happened the night on the couch after 10 years earlier, except that Chenny wants to know specifically what, and I feel like I have to show you the entire conversation because it is maddening. I shouldn't have. He rubs his hand across the back of his neck. It's just, I feel like such an idiot. Apparently, the call wasn't the only thing we still needed to discuss, only this time I'm the one in the dark. Why? Because, he says, as if I know what he's talking about. Because what? Then, to my complete astonishment, I watch as a flush spreads across his cheekbones. You know, he says. I don't, I say. What the fuck is happening? Why the fuck would you write this? This continues on for a while with Gabe acting too embarrassed, yet he's the one who brought it up in the first place. What's making it worse is that it's clear that Channy has no idea what he's even talking about. Eventually, Gabe says that he arrived early and then felt bad that he hadn't gotten Channy off. After this, the book continues to flare around, giving everybody who managed to get this far even more damage for reading the scene. However, this quickly morphs into Gabe claiming that he could have kept going if he wanted to, and then gets angry at his own implication of ED. Channy asks if that is a current problem. Gabe says that he wants her, which I'd like to say that you can be turned on by somebody but be unable to perform. So he somehow manages to avoid actually answering the question. His lips are still on mine, resting there, not kissing, but not kissing, like a placeholder. So he put his lips against hers and neither of them are moving in any way. Why would anybody think that this is remotely romantic or sexy? Following this is the frenzy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're probably too young for this book. Asexuals are excused as always. They then bang, and that's the rest of the chapter. I have to be honest with y'all. Spicy scenes in novels are one of the few things that I freely give myself permission to skim over to see if anything sticks out. Despite the fact that these books revolve around these spicy scenes, I have yet to read one that actually brings something of value to the book. Although, at least with this one, it was quite late in the book, and I'm a little convinced that it's going to be the only one we get. So I'll take it. Bonus Chapter 30. Today's article is about Gabe's return to the acting scene by playing C.K. Dexter Haven in Philadelphia Story. However, before I can mention that dead horse, who should probably be named at this point, he's such a reoccurring character, we actually jump into something that the readers didn't know. Well, we did know, but we hadn't gotten an article about this particular subject. This article is about how Channy was spotted at the restaurant with Gabe. I've decided he needs to be named Horace the Dead Horse. Something tells me that Horace is going to become a meme for me whenever I feel the need to comment about beating Horace. Anyway, the author beats Horace a bit with her constant need to remind us of exactly how Channy got her fame. But then the writer of the article goes on to say that they did some research and found that Channy is supposed to be writing a follow-up article about Gabe, but that the pictures of the two of them at the restaurant together make them look way too cozy for it to be simply another interview that's only adding fuel to the they slept together fire. Bonus Chapter 31. Yes, we're getting the third and final snippet of Channy's original interview with Gabe. Yes, I am annoyed that we're going to be off for the rest of the book, but hey, we're inching closer and closer to the end, so that annoyance won't be for long. This entire section is Monday, even though it's literally the only one-page bonus chapter before this section changes again. Anyway, to the actual snippet. Channing describes Gabe's guest room to the readers, but in the same breath tells everybody that she didn't sleep in the bed, that she went in there, waited to make sure that Gabe had gone to bed, and snuck out and left. She took a taxi home. She then confesses that she's never seen a James Bond movie and can barely name two actors who previously played Bond, but she goes on to say this. Even though I'm on the outskirts of Bond culture, I still know enough about what he represents as a character. He's masculinity personified, smooth, soft, debonair. He always gets the girl and the martini. He's an icon and he's far bigger than the man who plays him. Knowing this, I can say with all confidence that Gabe Parker is the Bond we need. He might even be the Bond we deserve. Now, I know that this is only supposed to be a tiny snippet of a much longer article, but at the same time, oh look, here comes Horace the Dead Horse! Channing was supposed to be writing an article about the upcoming James Bond movie and how Gabe was starring in it, yet she meandered through day 1, day 2, day 3, before fucking getting to the goddamn point. And here's Horace again to also remind you that Channing wasn't talking about Gabe during days 2 and 3. She was more focused on her own experiences rather than that of the celebrity she was supposed to be interviewing. It's literally only in the third and final snippet that she bothers to actually get to the point, but even that is overshadowed with the entire I didn't sleep with Gabe nonsense. It feels like it was tacked on at the last second when Channing remembered that she hadn't been asked to hang out with a celebrity. The entire thing feels like Channing wrote it up when she was drunk and decided to send it off to her editor, although why the editor thought that it was publish-worthy is beyond me. Like, it's not funny and it's not even good. Horace would like to remind you that, for all of Channing's whining on if she was famous because people wanted to know if she slept with Gabe or not, she 100% did not have to write in such detail about the bed in Gabe's guest bedroom. And I know that I was angry at Jeremy for snapping out, she slept with him, okay? But at the same time, seeing how this is the article everybody read, I can understand where everybody was coming from. This section is then Chapter 28. This chapter is barely a page long, and before anybody asks, yes, it is a Horace the Dead Horse chapter. We are rehashing the thing that we literally read not even a page earlier, that Channing snuck out from Gabe's house and went home. And I'm at the part of the novel where I don't give a rat's donkey about Channing's emotions. Her admitting to herself that sleeping with Gabe would have been a huge mistake. Because I'm literally on page 319, and not once has the author made me care about Channing. We did not need to know about how long Channing waited after Gabe left her. We don't need to know about how she heard the front door lock behind her and knew that it was final. We really didn't need to know about how she walked down to the front curb barefoot and then sat down to put her shoes on. There's only 2 more chapters and then 1 more bonus chapter left, but I'm going to do those for next week. Thanks for listening to my Book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday, but stick around because I sometimes drop random videos on other days too. Just as a reminder, even if you can't financially support me, there are other ways to help me out. The first is watching this video as well as all my other videos. It's also important to like and subscribe. Finally, you can share this video with all of your friends so that they can help as well. If you're already caught up with all my videos, you can go to Tumblr for my main book snarks, always free and updated every morning. And if you've already read all of my main snarks, then you can find even more snark on my Patreon. You can access it for $1 a month. Members also get early access to my main Tumblr snark. Special thanks to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon already. If you want to hear your name in my video next week, either support me on Patreon or make a one-time donation. Do you like my Snark so much that you want me to Snark your rating? I do that too. For just $6 per chapter, I will tell you how awful that your rating is. But not to worry if you feel like you couldn't take the criticism. I also offer regular book editing as well, just $10 per chapter. You can contact me on any of my social media platforms if you have further questions. If you want to read some of the things that I've written, you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have a slew of erotic short stories and 2 full-length novels. I also frequently run flash sales on my stories, and if you don't follow me on any social media, you might want to do so just so you can know when I might be offering things for free. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys. He's an icon and he's far bigger than the man who plays him. Knowing this, I can say with all confidence that Gabe Parker is the Bond we need. He might even be the Bond her admitting to herself that sleeping with... Why? Why the fuck are you barking?